Om Medakyasan, Namaste, Sarve Medevishta. So, no, Osio, all my relatives. And well, I gotta say, I'm beginning to believe I'm bipolar or something. Just something. I mean, I can go from one end of the spectrum, I think, to the next within, well, it's beginning to feel like literally seconds. Anyway, wow. You know, I'm really, really grateful for all the little Lavonic spurts, all of the explosive episodes, you could say, like Kilauea, you know. She's exploded. She's getting ready for her 32nd one. It's my understanding. Anyway, so yeah, one thing I found interesting today, Rashini and I literally passed out. Rashini and I literally passed out yesterday. We had so much fun on our vacation and we just out cold. This morning when I woke up, I wasn't quite sure. It was kind of like, oh, something's going on here. And then I remembered, hey, you've got the car, let's get down to the river. It's, you know, for me, because of the way I feel the energies, for me, it's the day after, or the waking up, so to speak, in the new moon energies, the black moon energies. So I was kind of in this, and you know, off we go. Amazing, beautiful ceremony, wonderful, beautiful ceremony. Dancing in the rain, just so carefree with the two sisters at the powwow celebration, and you know, they're having their laughs and their giggles and all of this, and we're just really in this flow of the gratitude, peace and the love and the joy and the freedom, and because that's kind of our theme this week. And we've delved into some dark spaces of gratitude. However, it's this, today it was all about celebration. And I'm just right in there, and the sky opens up with all this rain. It's like we're getting the rain. And I figured out my little new debit card with the little tap thingy and how to get it to work at the pump station so I could put fuel in there. I guess you have to tap it first and then put your code in, and it does its thing instead of inserting it. Because it says right there, insert or tap card. And I'm going, well, okay, I'll insert it. Anyway, technology. What we have these days. So, but when I had gotten the fuel, I had gone in, you know, to ask, how does this thing work? Right? It may sound really old school of me, but it was my first tap card. You know, they've had the chip card. And that's what failed and sent me into my not having funds, you know, having all these funds, but couldn't get to them because it wouldn't even work in the ATM machine. So I was grateful for that cash. Anyway, so, and when I had opened the door to come in, you could see the cloud over there. It was so beautiful. It was like, wow, this is a mysterious cloud, because you don't get a lot of them here. And he was like, oh, he comes running around the counter and goes to open the door, and I'm like, what? Did I someone getting ready to, what's going on here? And he's like, oh, I thought I saw something. And he goes, I think that was lightning. And one of the other workers that was coming in to relieve him from his shift, he comes in and he goes, yeah. He goes, oh, it's finally coming. And he goes, no, it's looking like it's gonna bypass us. So I'm watching it as I'm driving down, to the river, and I'm going, I don't know about this. Well, the one that came was the one from the west, so that one, a slightly different direction, but yeah, she just dumped out these great big, huge water drops, and it just went on and on and on. And there was a gentleman on this electric bike comes zooming down there with his camera, and he's taking pictures of it, over the Colorado River, and the Colorado River actually getting raindrops hitting in her, and the sunrise with and then a few other people had come down, and everybody was just like, wow, it's raining, and we're having a beautiful celebration. And of course I have the Fire family on, and Rashini's like, I've had enough of this. And he goes running to the car. Let me in. I think he thinks he'll melt if he gets too wet. I don't know. Anyway, so we did. We got into the car and we moved it around so I could watch, because I'm going, this isn't going to last for long, and there's going to be a rainbow. I could feel the rainbow coming. I could feel it coming. I mean, just all the good vibes that was going on, And so I step out because I'm like, the rain kind of lit up, and I'm like, oh, I want to smell the desert. Rashini, you can stay in the car, and I left the car doors open. Do whatever you want to do, buddy. But I went back out. And I heard this, turn around. So I turned around, and there was this huge double rainbow. And oh my gosh, it was so gorgeous. It was going right over the park, right over the car. It was just so gorgeous. And so I shared it with the Fire family. We were in it together. And so, yeah. And then we go for a little walk wonder, and I put my lavender back on, and we close up the then Rashini and I go for the walk wonder. This is 2 days now that I have not done a rock. However, it's been what I consider special circumstances. And so, what? Do you need to go back outside? And so, the directions closed. I was being bit by a couple of mosquitoes just prior. Do you need outside? What do you need, baby? Is there something bothering you in the bed? What? You're okay. You want me to sit over here with you? Okay. Got an ear issue? Is that what it is? Something in your ear? Something in my widow Washini's ear? There's something in that ear? Huh? Oh, boy, you were really leaning into that, weren't you? Here. Oh, does that feel good? I can hear you going, oh, whoa, 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 yum, 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 yum. Okay. So, the directions closed, and that's when the mosquitoes started. And even with all the lavender and cedar wood and my intentions and all of this, it was like, okay, some irritants are starting to come through. And I knew shortly after, it's like, let's get off of here. And I did. And we got back into the car, and one followed us into the car, and it's like, you're a goner, and we moved on. And went to see this property. And I think I have already done a bit of a journal entry on that, because it took me to some places. And I confirmed and kind of stepped back into my power with another sister as we were sharing. Here's the interesting thing. I felt really good about it all and was kind of feeling pretty solid and going, I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow and see where all this leads and follow the steps, I mean, that's what I do. That's how I've allowed spirit to use my life. It's how I stay close to the mother. It's how I navigate, and magical things happen. I must, it's not my doing. It's me allowing spirit to do through me and to guide me, my ancestors. And sometimes it feels as if I'm holding 2 or 3 contradictory intentions, setting them and then allowing the flow to move me. It's for me, it's several things will feel right, several things will feel good. Could be numerous different ways I can go, numerous ways that decisions can be made. It could be land-based, it could be travel-based, it could be this, it could be that. And then following that trail, it's kind of like I was sharing, it's like there's 3 different forks here, 3 different prongs, and which way is, which is it going to be? And be okay with whichever one takes place, going, this is good, and this is good. So I'm gonna release those and let them go, and I'll follow the steps that is from my heart, that is in alignment with the highest good for all animals, for all concerned, that benefits everyone. That's what feels good to my soul. And so it's a little different when it's all of that, and yet being called to go, being really, really fully called to go, what is your joy? What would you like to experience next? I'm going, I'm good with all of it. And yet I hear myself, take me all the way, take me all the way, take me all the way, take me all the way. That's been my intention all along. Take me all the way. Don't want to do nothing half-ass, and sure want to make sure that I do whatever is being called of me to full completion. So where was I going with this? So here I am, and it was interesting. I was in that really good space going, okay, well, let's see what's next, who knows? Gonna keep following the spirit crumbs. I call them spirit crumbs. Gonna keep following the spirit crumbs. Or, so Some would say the yellow brick road, some would say the, I know at one point I believed it was a white road. I'm like, I'm not following the yellow brick road, and I'm not following really a red road. I'm following the white road. But most natives would say, well, that's the red road. For me, it's the white road. And there's many, many meanings around that, and I'm not going to go into that right now. So, but for me, it's the white road. So, and I'm following those spirit crumbs that keep me on the white road. And that is my prayer every day. Keep me on the white road. Show, make it clear what my steps are. Well, my steps today led me to a phone call with a sister. And interestingly enough, so grateful for speaking with the sister. But I got off the call and I felt horrible. I felt like almost defeated, but not. I felt almost diminished in a way, which I don't believe that the sister meant that whatsoever. I know that I'm knowing that was not her intention. The conversation came to a natural ending where everybody needed to be fed. But I found it interesting. I'm going, And that took me to a space where I really couldn't eat. And into this questioning myself, really, really questioning myself, and to this point where I called another sister. I reached out to another sister and was like, hey, you got a minute, and we spoke, and I got this bit more of a confirmation to a certain degree, and what was really aligning within my heart, and going, and felt really good. We both did, I believe. We both really did. And so then I'm going, wow, am I bipolar? What is going on here? I mean, I can go from one swing to the next swing to the next swing. So I listened to the next Eye of Wisdom, one that would be for most. I listened to tomorrow's that would be mine for today, early. That makes sense. And I'm like, oh, I see what's taking place. All that stuff coming. It was a bit more of that residual, the stuff around beliefs and all of these kinds of things, because I've been very, very clear, doing my best to be clear. Number one, to be honest with what I'm feeling and to take a look at it and process it and release it, with what's coming up, and shifting it, allowing that process, and then allowing it to shift naturally into what's really truth. And sometimes you have to kind of, I had this little hummingbird medicine where I got to spend some time with the hummingbird, where it was sometimes we'd have to prime the pump just a little bit. And so that's what it was for me, was getting some clarity around my thoughts, and allowing that deeper intimacy to take place with relationships, you know, because sometimes we do need assistance from others, and we all do. We're very interdependent. We're independent, but it's an interdependent. And you keep your own sovereignty, but sometimes, you know. So there was this beautiful, beautiful clarity that took place. Now, any decisions actually made? No. It's this, okay, I'm good with all of the possibilities and listening for the breadcrumb pieces. Then what takes place for me is, okay, this project's complete. Now let's really hone in on these other projects. And that's when I had my little technology meltdown. And I sat with that. I put everything away and I just allowed myself to sit with it and going, okay, what's the blockage here? What's the resistance here? And allowing myself to be with that, I went and took a swim. Just went and got into the pool and grounded. Got into the shower and washed all my clothes and hankies, bandanas, and just I was able to eat and finish listening to the Eye of Wisdom that normally I wouldn't listen to until tomorrow after I have moved through the energies. Usually they post them the day before. So like, let's say it's for the 11th and 12th. They post it on the 10th so that you listen to it on the 10th and you're prepared for the 11th and the 12th. It's kind of letting you know what's getting ready to take place so you can have it in your awareness. Well, because it's for the energies of the 11th and the 12th, and they want you, and the energies start coming in a little bit early, and you listen to it on the 10th. For me, that is my, sometimes it's the 9th would be my 10th, so the energy's coming in, and the 10th would be the 11th. My 10th would actually be the 11th. And then the 12th is my 11th. So that's how it plays out for me. At least that's what I notice the consistency with. Sometimes it's a few, depending on how strong the energies are, sometimes it's a day, you know, but it's it's never the actual day. It's like the energies for me take place the day before, the concentration of them. And you have the windows on either side. So it's like I walk through the energies and then I notice the next day or two, others are walking through those energies. It's very interesting for me. And I think that is one of the things that my partner with the nonprofit, when we began traveling, he would know what was going on. It was my chase vehicle, and we would know what was going on in, like, because he'd done all the investigating and looked up the park and all of this and that, and so he would pay attention to what I was going through and experiencing, and then, you know, later share with me, oh, it was interesting that you know, this, and this took place for you, and these are the energies of that particular area, and so forth. Kind of like I was in like a scientific experiment. Well, I've taken this scientific experiment on with myself, because I'm like, wow, am I really that in tune with the energies? And apparently the answer is yes. And so this is where I love having my space, because it kind of gives me a little bit of a not that I don't still feel everything going on. However, I'm able to really I'm able to kind of, it's almost like an added little barrier. And when I step out that door and Rashini and I start going for our walks and stuff, if there's some really intense stuff going on, it really intensifies, and the walks get shortened a little bit, and then when we come back in, it's like, I've got a big sage bundle at my front door and some other stones and so forth, so that when I come through the door, that intention is that I'm saged, I'm clear, my energies that are not from me are in the highest good at the time, or they're cleared off. And so then there's that space of coming into, there's the little hallway, you've got the kitchen and the bathroom, but there's this coming into the big portion of the medicine wheel and Reiki grid and the private space, which is, I find interesting sometimes, that depending upon the caseworker, they don't always want to come all the way into the big studio part, beyond the bathroom and the kitchen. If they do, they just stand right at the doorway. They don't actually walk all the way in. I find that interesting. Now the one caseworker, she loves coming in here, and she'll extend the conversations and ask other questions just to kind of hang out for a little while. I find that pretty sweet and beautiful, and then I usually have to kind of like start walking her to the door, like it's time to go. You know, you're complete, get out of here. I find it cute. She's absolutely adorable, absolutely adorable. I'm really grateful she's my caseworker. So and because of that, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, and what I observe, but for me, it really helps with, like when I was going to the national forests, being in the national forests and the state campgrounds, etc., there's this, and you can really hone in with yourself a little better. Now, I'm not saying that you can't hone in on with yourself being out in the public, but as And, you know, as my dad shared, it was, you know, that zip up those chakras and only accept from the Great Mother and the Father Sky, and make your chakras one-way valves and just beam that energy. Yes, yes, I love that. I love that. However, there's also, I've been in this navigational workings of, okay, you do that, how, there's still this, you want to feel what is taking place. You want to, and that was some difficulties I was having was, okay, I have my bubble, but now I want to feel the other energies. And that's been this practice with these pictures, I believe. That has been the practice with these pictures, is feeling the energies, however, not letting them actually in, or that's not the word. See, I don't have any terminology for it. It's not really like a maybe it is, but it's different. I hadn't really thought about how to put it into words yet. It's not really passing clouds, because that's thoughts. And I see that like with meditation, like with your mind. There's these passing thoughts. It's more than just the passing thoughts. And it's a feeling passing through. But not like our feelings that pass through. And maybe it is. However, for myself, it's like I feel this energy when someone's sharing, and the mental pictures come, and it comes out in the drawing along with the feeling of it. And yet at the same time, I'm still feeling what I am feeling. But there's a difference. There's where before for me, I was really hard to differentiate between what was mine and what I was feeling around me. And so it all just became one conglomerate, and I just worked with the one conglomerate and transmuted that. Found the truth and dug in there and got the root and the belief and find the little, golden nugget. What's to be learned from this, and how can I best utilize this, or honor this, or bless this, or pray for this, or whatever the situation was calling for. This is different. And it's like there's more of this, and I can't even say it's like a Zoom camera. It's not even a zooming out or a zooming in. It's like two or more bubbles of energy overlapping and passing through. Now, periodically, there are, some would term it like a dark energy or an entity, or some would say like an ulterior motive or intention. Every once in a while, there's that kind of a sticky, slimy, buggy kind of energy. And oh, I can't mistake that anymore. Yeah. And the interesting thing is with some, I'm not saying with all, because I can't speak for that, but with a few, with some, you can feel their heart, you can feel their intention, or their beauty, their golden deliciousness about them, you know? Yet, you can see this energy, and you can feel it before you can see it. I can feel it now before I can see it. Before I was kind of like, what is this? I'm like, yeah, something's just not right. And then the energy hits, right? And it's like, ooh. Well, because it's a sticky, slimy kind of energy, you know, it's like, well, now it doesn't stick. It doesn't even come in. But the mosquitoes, it's like trying to get in, you know? I'm like, out of here. And don't even have to try to swat the mosquitoes away. The mosquitoes leave. Interesting. Now, I'm ready for the next evolvement. At least I think I'm ready. I'm gonna claim that I am ready. It's gonna come when it comes, because that's how spirit works. But I am setting the intention of, can't even come near. You know, just back the fuck off and go away. Or be transmuted yourself. Just, you know, it's kind of that yeah, I'm gonna start taking some classes. Not self-defense classes. I'm gonna connect with my African slave heritage. Yeah, I have African slave in me. And I love the music, and I can dance with some good dance. It just comes natural. However, there's this particular, a sister of mine shared it with me, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but the African slaves in South America, Brazil, it's Brazil, Anyway, they weren't allowed to take self-defense. So they made it dance. And they keep it really, really low to the ground. You know, there's probably a reason for that, but I'm going, that's that street dancing they do. And to a beat, well, it has deeper roots than street dancing. Much, much deeper roots than street dancing. It's, they were learning to defend themselves and put it to music and added some gymnastics. So it's like this beautiful mix of gymnastics, dance, and self-defense. I'm gonna check it out. I haven't started yet, but I'm going to. Anyway, so where was I going with that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited about that. I believe it will add a little bit of zest, kind of like my little mouth harp is adding a little bit of a different zest, a little change up and diving into something different. And that's really how we're helping and working with my throat, opening up my throat chakra. And I was talking about the shielding thing. So that is my intention, is to, you know, set up those vibes, you know, make it very, very spiritual. Number one, connecting with my South African roots, and a slave to the Cherokee, which is also my other half of me, the Cherokee, and then, or fourth or third of me, eighth of me, and then the Roma Gypsy, which is the, you know, I really love the belly dancing, and my India roots. So but yeah, I'm noticing this, how there's been this interesting, and it's, you know, it's also not just for me, because the rest of our family, they're feeling it, they're beginning to understand it, and yet there are those that, what's the word? Oh, yeah, it's time to go set some intentions, and I have probably gone on way too long. I've gone on way too long. So let's just call it good. I've gone on way too long. But that was, thank you. I'm thanking myself, because again, this is my journal entry. This is me talking to myself, and it shares, it's me talking to myself. And so, you know, I've never intended that, you know, anybody would listen to any of these, pay attention to any of these. And so I am noticing that they're starting to get some views. And so, just so that there is that awareness that this is, if you get something out of it, beautiful, wonderful. I'm very, very happy. However, I had done journals all of my life and in different ways, and many of them have disappeared, got deleted, burned, whatever. And so I have found that Facebook and YouTube have been two ways that at least I have some actual really good, what you could say, documented history, so to speak, or memories that when they pop up, it's like, oh, there's those beautiful children in South Africa, or oh, there's those beautiful children in Varanasi, or oh my gosh, yes, there's me standing underneath the tree, or there's me with the elephants in Sri Lanka, or whatever it may be. It's nice to, we all appreciate that, but you know, and if it goes away, well, it goes away too. I've come to that space as well. But there are times where, yeah, for myself, there's been things that have taken place that if they were not documented, I wouldn't have believed myself that they took place. So again, this is my journal entry. It's for me, and sometimes it's a way for me to process through things where nobody's trying to fix me, nobody's trying to give me advice, except for my inner guidance and myself and what is true for me and my dog. My dog gives me a lot of advice. The animals give me a lot of advice. And if you stop to think about it, way back when we began everything we've learned as being human, we have learned from the non-human animals. So yeah, it's kind of like the human animal, get over yourselves. We have our own beautifulness about us. Absolutely. I am not saying that the human animal is completely negative. It's completely bad. It is definitely not. But I can't say we're the superior species, personally. With that, I'm going to say good night and thank you. Blessed be. Plant those beautiful seeds and let them start to grow inside of you this new moon.